Hi, my name is Ingris Martinez, and I'm here to explain to you about my code project challenge. I choose an expenses tracker system, and before starting this project, I receive a list of challenge requirements. Based on that requirements, I made the backlog, prioritizing my less experienced tasks because I have to take I have to took some tutorials, making some hello words and researching, etc., etc. And next, I prioritize my development tasks, backend tasks, where I know that I have the strongest technical skills. Then I take my bonus tasks, and finally, the not development tasks. My application is hosted on a Azure server, and the front end is done in ASP.NET Core. My database is SQL Server, and my services are using Entity Framework to handle the database access. I'm using 4 tables to handle this project. The main table is the budget table where all the budget header information is saved. Then I have the budget detail table where all the categories for every budget is saved. I have an expenses category master table where the default category for every budget are defined here, and also the user can define their custom categories. And finally, the expenses tracking table. The application has 2 main projects. The first one is the service project, and I use a REST API to expose all the services that application need. For this application, I just need 4 controllers. Here is my REST API. I need a controller for the expenses category, and the expenses controller, the reports controllers, and the user controllers. Then the most important thing is how do I structure my project here, and it is because I work with 3 tiers. The first one is the controller tiers. The second one, the application tiers, app service tiers, and the third one is the domain services tier. I take every request in this layer, then this layer called the application services. The application services access the database and send the information to the domain services. And here in the domain services, all the business logic is managed. So all the validations, every transaction, every object creations, everything has to be here in the domain services. Applying these concepts, I must have testing for every layer, but for this case, I just have some few tests for my domain layer and some unit testing, and these unit testings are just used for the validations. These unit testing are evaluating just validations, and if I go to my test explorer, I find that I have just 10 tests to validate some themes and in all the few transactions that I have in this application. And now finishing with this REST API, I am going to the web project. This is a great experience because this is my first time using ASP.NET, and in just following some tutorials I made the basic from this site. So I have three controllers: the home controller, the expenses controller, the report controllers, and the views: the expenses, home, reports. And also I have the models where I manipulate the information or transform the information from the REST API into the objects that the view needs. For this project, my big win for this one was deploy this application automatically through a DevOps project in Azure. And now I just make a push to my Git repository, and this project deploy my application. I want you to give a little or a quick tour into my application. As I mentioned, this is my starting page. Here I don't have created the January budget, so the system is requiring me to create the new budget. I cannot do any transaction before this, so I start saying I wanna 30% for this one, and for this one on 40%. And so I know that I know that in this case I can use some JavaScript, but I prefer to use the submit button to get a refresh, a recalculation about this, to avoid more investigation in this size. So here is where I said that you cannot custom category, and in this case I just going to create the budget. And here I am in my home page, and from my home controller now I pass to my expenses controller, and here I just start recording transactions. 2. And I would personal care, I take a spa, and I would like 100. My report, I have the 2 transactions from this budget, and also I have the total spending amount for the months before, in this case December, and the current month is January 20. Can edit the transactions. Oh no, I didn't spend 100. Just and save. And my report, and my home, and my alert has changed. Now I'm in a good my good status.